I retired, and for about 8 months, I did almost nothing. And I told everybody I was enjoying it. I was not enjoying it. I was sleeping later, eating at odd hours, and finding that whole Tuesdays had gone somewhere without me. What fixed it was not a routine, and it was not discipline. It was 5 things I picked up, badly, one at a time, over about 2 years. None of them cost much. None of them needed me to be any good at them. This is those 5. In the order I would hand them to somebody. No miracle cures, no scare stories, nothing to buy, just what's actually true. The one at number 1 is not really a hobby at all. It is the one that has other people in it, and a time it starts. And it is the one that did more than the other 4 put together. There were 3 things going on that year that I never mentioned to anybody. Whole days were arriving with nothing in them to tell one from the next. When somebody finally did visit, I talked far too much and heard myself doing it. And I had started saving up small errands so that an afternoon would have a shape. I thought that was just age. It wasn't. Number 5, being bad at something on purpose. I bought a second-hand instrument I had no business buying, and I am still terrible at it. That is not modesty. 2 years in, I can play about 4 things badly. It seemed like a waste of money, and for the first month, it was. Here is what I did not expect. Everything else I do, I am reasonably competent at, because I did most of it for 40 years. Competence is comfortable, and it is also completely flat. Being genuinely bad at something is the only place left where I improve at anything, and improving turns out to be the feeling I had actually been missing. It does not have to be an instrument, a language, a card game, drawing, anything where you start at nothing. The whole value is in being a beginner, so pick the thing you would be embarrassed to be seen doing. That is number 5. Number 4 is the one that gets things out of the bin. Number 4, mending things instead of replacing them. A kettle stopped working, and I nearly put it in the bin without opening it. Then I opened it, and the thing that was wrong took 4 minutes to see. I had spent 40 years assuming that anything with a plug on it was somebody else's problem. What I got back was not the kettle. It was an hour where I was concentrating on something that had an answer. That turned out to be the rare part. Most of what occupies us after work stops has no answer in it. It just passes. A broken chair leg, a squeaking hinge, a bicycle that will not change gear, all of these have an answer. And finding it takes exactly as long as it takes. I am not good at this, and I want to be clear about that. I have made 2 things worse and thrown one away in temper. But the afternoons I spend with something apart on the kitchen table are the afternoons I do not check the clock. That is number 4. Number 3 is the only one on this list that needs weather. Number 3, growing something that is not finished yet. I started with 3 pots outside a back door, and I killed 2 of them. It seemed like the most obvious old person hobby there is, and I resisted it for exactly that reason. What changed my mind was noticing what it does to time. Everything else in a day after work stops as finished when you finish it. A thing that is growing is never finished. It is always partly ahead of you. That means tomorrow has something in it that is already started, which is a small thing that turns out not to be small. On the practical side, start smaller than you think. Pots before beds, and one that is hard to kill before anything interesting. If getting down to ground level is the problem, raised beds and waist-height pots exist, and they are not a lesser version of it. Twice a week is plenty at the start, and I stayed at twice a week for a whole season before I added anything. And if something aches the next day in a way that does not settle, that is a sign to do less of it, not to push through. That is number 3. Number 2 is the one I put off the longest, and it is not physical at all. Number 2, writing things down for people who are not born yet. Nobody left in my family knows how my grandfather ended up in that town. I know. I'm the last one who does. And for years, I did nothing about it. It seemed morbid, which is the wrong word, and I know it is the wrong word. It felt like packing. Here is what actually happened when I started. It is not packing. It is the opposite. An hour spent writing down where somebody came from is an hour spent in the middle of the story rather than at the end of it. I do it badly. Notebooks, no order, half of it in the margins of other things. Nobody is going to publish it, and nobody needs to. It just has to exist somewhere that is not only my head. That is number 2. Number 1 has nothing to do with what you are interested in. Number 1, Something that expects you to turn up. The other four are all things I do alone when I feel like it, at no particular hour. That is what makes them easy to start, and it is also their whole weakness. Number one is different, and it is the one I would give somebody if I could only give one. It is any regular thing with two features. Other people are there, and it starts at a set time whether you are ready or not. Mine is a Thursday morning. It does not matter what it is. A choir, a walking group, a class, a shift somewhere that needs hands, a game of something in a hall. The activity is almost beside the point. What matters is that by Wednesday evening, there is something in tomorrow, and that if I do not appear, somebody notices. I resisted this one hardest, and I want to say why honestly. After 40 years of turning up because I had to, the whole appeal of stopping work was never having to be anywhere again. I protected that fiercely, and I was wrong about it. What I actually wanted was to stop being obliged. I did not want to stop being expected. Those are not the same thing, and it took me 2 years to find the difference. The first two I tried, I did not go back after the second week. Nobody chased me, and that is exactly the problem with the first 2 weeks of anything. So I picked a third, and I told one person in it that I would be there the following week, out loud, before I could think better of it. That is the entire technique. There is nothing else to it. Your week, start to finish. Here is how these 5 actually sit in a week, which is not the order I ranked them in. Thursday morning is the one with people in it, and everything else arranges itself around it because it is the only fixed point. The growing happens twice in the week, usually early, usually because I am already outside. The mending is a wet afternoon thing. It waits for bad weather, and there is always bad weather. The instrument is 20 minutes most evenings, and about half of those 20 minutes are spent finding where I put it. And the writing is a Sunday thing, an hour, when the house is quiet and the week is already over. None of that was planned. It settled that way over about 2 years, and I only noticed the shape of it when I tried to describe it to somebody. The honest part. Now the part the title of this video does not do justice to. None of this keeps you young. I want to say that plainly, because it is what everybody selling something in this corner of the internet will not say. I am not younger. I am exactly as old as I was before I bought the instrument. What changed is that the days have edges again, and that turns out to be most of what people actually mean when they say somebody has stayed young, on timing. The first one you pick will feel pointless for about a fortnight, and that is not a sign you chose wrong. Mine took a month before I stopped having to talk myself into it, and about a season before I would have missed it if it went. The Thursday one took longest and did the most. What this cannot fix. If the quiet in the house is grief, a hobby is not the answer to that, and I would not insult anybody by suggesting it is. This is for the flatness that comes from having nothing in the diary, which is a different thing wearing similar clothes. And here's the part almost nobody says. Most people give up on something like this about a fortnight before it would have stopped feeling like an effort, which is the point at which it starts working. 2 weeks is where nearly everybody stops, and it is the worst possible place to stop, finally. Some of the slowing down is not a diary problem at all. Some of it is just a body that has done 60-odd years of work, and it does not owe you 30. If the mornings take longer than they used to, that may simply be true, and it is allowed to be true. Not everything after 60 is a problem waiting for a solution, whatever anybody is selling. So those are the 5. Number 5, being bad at something on purpose, because being a beginner is the only place left to improve. Number 4, mending things, because a problem with an answer in it is rarer than it sounds. Number 3, growing something, because it puts a piece of tomorrow into today. Number 2, writing things down, because you are the last one who knows. And number 1, something that expects you to turn up, which is the only one of the 5 that will come looking for you. 4 things I do alone. 1 thing that notices when I don't. Tell me in the comments what you'd like explained next. I read every single one. A like helps this reach other people who would rather understand something than be frightened into buying it. And if you would rather have the honest version than the exciting one, that is the whole reason this channel exists. Here is to the healthy living years.